It's the greatest question of all. What is the true nature of reality, and why are we a part of it? To seek answers to this question, mankind has devised two systems of thought, science and religion. Both provide a lens through which people can try to make sense of their existence. Yet for 500 years, these two strands of human thought have stood in opposition to each other, incompatible paths in the search for truth. Welcome to One Search for Truth, Reconciling Science and Religion in the 21st Century. In this video series, we explore how we might be able to start to reconcile science and religion, tearing down the barriers that separate these two paths to understanding. In the process, we will present the first major new theory in physics for decades, one that could alter how you think about the universe and your place in it. Our theory goes beyond the realm of conventional science to explain how spiritual feelings could be validated scientifically. If you want to skip to this new theory, go straight to video 3. But let's start with a little background. From our earliest human ancestors, we have possessed an innate sense of the spiritual, a feeling that we are part of something much greater than ourselves, the oneness of all things. Early mankind typically worshipped or gave spiritual significance to aspects of the natural world around them, such as the sun or the animals on which they depended for food, as well as paying homage to their ancestors through ancestry worship. With the rise of civilization, a professional priesthood emerged, taking control of communities' spiritual life. And largely because of this, increasingly complex religious narratives developed, in which natural objects like the sun were assigned specific human characteristics. Ra, the sun god of Egypt, was at times depicted as human with the head of a falcon, but was one of a number of powerful gods. A remarkably similar system of deities evolved in the Aztec Empire, 12,000 kilometers away, despite its physical isolation from the Eurasian landmass. Huitzilopochtli, the sun and war god, was depicted in human form alongside a pantheon of other gods linked to other natural phenomena. The more sophisticated civilizations of Greece and pre-Christian Rome stuck to this system of gods that oversaw aspects of the natural world, but were even more explicitly human in character. The distinction between God and man was often blurred as rulers sought to justify their position. When the populist politician Pisistratus tried to seize power in Athens in the 6th century BC, he passed off Phi, a woman who stood more than a foot above average height, as the goddess Athena, riding with him on his chariot into the city. The Athenians apparently fell for the ruse as Pisistratus successfully seized power. But the great turning point in the history of religion came from the emergence of monotheism, the belief in a single god. As early as the 14th century BC, the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten abolished the worship of all gods besides the sun disk Aten. The first sustained monotheistic religion, Judaism, is believed to have developed in the small Middle Eastern tribe of the Israelites by the 6th century BC. From these modest beginnings, monotheism flourished as followers of Christ formed a new creed some 6 centuries later, followed in the 7th century AD by the emergence of Islam. These ancient creeds have been prodigiously successful, so much so that today they dominate religious practice across the globe, with some 56% of the planet's population claiming allegiance to one or another. With their common roots, unsurprisingly, these Abrahamic religions have a common understanding of the Creator as separate from the universe but overseeing it, a kind of cosmic dictator with human characteristics, the power to intervene on Earth, and an overriding interest in the affairs of mankind. So successful has been this vision of God that it has come to dominate our thinking of what a creator could be so thoroughly that even those who reject it take it as the template for what a creator could be. But it is an unconvincing representation of a higher power. We see no evidence of the kind of intervention recorded in the holy books. And the concept of an all-powerful, all-knowing God of love and justice is fundamentally at odds with the often cruel and unforgiving world we see around us. Not surprisingly then, with the rise of rational thought from the beginnings of the first scientific revolution some 5 centuries ago, the prevailing notion of God started to be questioned. In the 17th and 18th centuries, as a scientific mindset became more pervasive, deism was popularized by thinkers such as Edward Herbert and later Benjamin Franklin. Deists rejected the notion of an interventionist God, but replaced it with a watchmaker who created the universe but then stood back, happy to watch his creation from afar like some cosmic model train set. Yet the watchmaker is the same cosmic dictator, minus a desire to intervene in his creation. And ironically, even atheists, when they reject the notion of a creator, have the same universal autocrat in mind. The unconvincing God of the Abrahamic religions has done more than anything to fuel the antagonistic relationship between science and religion. Because science demands evidence, while the Abrahamic religions promote the notion of faith, a blind, unquestioning acceptance. But when we examine our innate spirituality, unadulterated by the religion we have been brought up in, we don't see this cosmic dictator. Instead, what we feel is a sense that we are somehow part of something greater than ourselves, connected to the oneness of all things. And science has no clear answer as to why we possess these spiritual feelings. Using its methodology of testing and validation or falsification, science cannot determine whether or not our spiritual intuition provides genuine insights into existence. The scientific revolution of the last 500 years has not only led to material advances beyond the wildest imaginings of earlier generations, but has transformed the way we think about our place in the universe. The core principle underpinning science is the idea that you can understand the natural world through observation and experimentation. You put forward theories which can be tested and validated or falsified. Science has driven a rational mindset that seeks out evidence. In so doing, it has driven the rise of the analytical mind and a skepticism about all things spiritual. Medieval Europe might seem like an unlikely cradle for a scientific revolution. Absolutist Christianity was the dominant belief system, imposing a stifling orthodoxy where challenging the beliefs of the church could bring serious consequences. But Johannes Gutenberg's invention of the movable type printing press around 1440 and the explosion of religious dissent during the Reformation of the early 16th century that split the church opened minds to alternative ways of thinking. If you can trace what came to be termed the most important transformation in human history to one event, it must be Nicholas Copernicus's publication of On the Revolutions of the Celestial Spheres in 1543, outlining the radical and, to most 16th century Europeans, baffling concept that the Earth and other planets revolved around the Sun. Copernicus's theory came to be recognized as an insight into reality because it made predictions that could be tested and validated. Still, it took about a century before his ideas were widely accepted, and as late as 1633, that other towering figure of early science, Galileo, was confined to house arrest for the rest of his life for the heresy of supporting Copernicus's heliocentric model, with the Sun at the center of the solar system. An even more remarkable breakthrough came from the mind of Englishman Isaac Newton. His laws of motion overturned conventional thinking. Previously, it had been assumed that the natural state for any object was to be at rest. But with breathtaking intuition, Newton showed that an object would continue to travel at a particular speed in a particular direction indefinitely until some other force acted upon it. This seemed to contradict the simple observation that objects tended to slow down and fall downwards. It is said that while sitting in his garden in Woolsthorpe Manor in Lincolnshire, after seeing an apple fall to the ground, it dawned on Newton that a force must be at work. And that force, gravity, could explain not only a falling apple, but why the planets revolved around the Sun. In calculus, Newton developed a branch of mathematics that enabled these forces to be calculated and validated mathematically, meaning, for example, the arc of a cannonball could be predicted with accuracy. Once again, the power to predict was the validation that Newton had made a genuine insight into how the universe worked. And it seemed to be a clockwork system, where everything from planets to atoms had defined places in space and time. This first scientific revolution, kicked off by Copernicus, Galileo, and Newton, reached its zenith in the 19th century. By this time, science had developed a self-confidence virile enough to move beyond challenging the petty superstitions of earlier eras to question the very foundations of Western religion. In the most shocking repudiation of the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Charles Darwin suggested that humans had evolved from ape-like creatures, which had in turn evolved like all other life, from much simpler organisms in a process known as natural selection, which required no intervention from a god. This radical theory ate at the very foundations of Christianity and its belief that man was made by God in the image of God. Is it so surprising, then, that by 1882, the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche famously proclaimed, "God is dead"? Science seemed to have demolished the fundamental building blocks upon which the Abrahamic religions were built. Then, something strange and extraordinary happened. A new scientific revolution, with its stirrings in the late 19th century, overturned everything we thought we knew and revealed a universe that was bizarre beyond mankind's wildest imaginings. In our next video, we'll see how this second scientific revolution overturned the first, giving us a completely different understanding of how the universe works, opening the door to explanations of existence that point to other dimensions or universes beyond our own, that science may never be able to understand or explore.